In 1968, a discussion was held between three scientists about fungi. They discuss one fungus that can feast on its host to survive while simultaneously preventing their host from dying. Humans cannot host fungi in their bodies due to their body temperatures, but if global warming occurred, our bodies would be vulnerable to this fungi and the world would be covered in billions of flesh-eating mindless puppets. There is no cure or way to stop this. A man named Joel eats breakfast his daughter Sarah cooked for them, and they talk about normal everyday stuff. She is responsible, kind and caring. She grabs her dad's old watch and some money to have it fixed at a pawn shop after school. While there, the shop owner remarks that all day there's been police, fire trucks and ambulances flying by. Sarah does her homework at the neighbor's house and fails to notice what's happening to the old lady, but the dog does. In the couple of steps it takes to get home, military jets fly overhead. She returns her dad's fixed watch to him as a birthday present, even though she used his money to fix it. Sarah wakes up after 2 a.m. to all kinds of lights and loud noises outside the house. She tries to return the neighbor's dog, but something just isn't right. She looks inside the open house and finds blood, then an injured person begging for help, and another being eaten by Mrs. Adler. Her dad and Uncle Tommy arrive to get her out of the neighborhood and they talk about what's happening. Radios and phones don't work, so they can only go by what they've heard, which is that this is some kind of parasite. They pass by a family in need and start driving through the field alongside the highway because of the traffic. Sarah wonders if they're already sick and this is happening everywhere. They drive through crowds of panicking people as planes fly overhead and crash to the ground. Below, their truck flips and Sarah's ankle is broken. Tommy tells Joel to get his daughter out of there, and he'll meet them at the river. They escape a fast and furious zombie when it's shot down by a soldier. He reports his finding of 2 civilians, 1 injured, and he's ordered to execute them. He fires, but Joel leaps out of the way. Before the soldier can kill him, Tommy appears and kills him from behind. However, it's too late for Sarah. 20 years later, a child finds the hideout created by survivors. The hideout is no better or different than a prison. Symptoms of the sickness are well known now, and they have scanners to detect the infection. The infection scan is positive, so the officer comforts the child with thoughts of food and toys as the lethal injection is given. Joel picks his job assignment for the next day, the sewage one that pays more, and lawbreakers are hung. Joel meets with one of the guards, who pays him a lot of credits, even though he says he'd rather just shoot him. They've made a deal for drugs in exchange for vehicle arrangements. The guard warns him to stay off the streets at night. He's been jumpy lately and it'd be easy to make a mistake. A man named Robert is interviewing Tess because a deal between them went wrong. He screwed up and he knows it, because his men beat Tess and he sold Joel's battery to someone else. Just as they agree to forget about it, the wall explodes. As she tries to find a safe place, a group of Fedra start firing at a Firefly sniper on the roof and more soldiers approach Tess. She surrenders, claiming she is not a Firefly. A girl is trapped in a small room and asked mind-numbing questions. She answers them the same way she did the days before, and yells in frustration. In this new world, they must communicate the old-fashioned way, and people wait in line to send loved ones messages. Joel brings the man cigarettes and asks if he's heard anything from Tommy at Cody Tower. Although he hasn't responded for 3 weeks, he tells Joel he believes he's fine. Joel isn't convinced, so he tells him to point out where the tower is on a map. The man argues that it isn't safe to go because there are slavers and raiders out there, but he just assured Joel that he believes his brother is fine, so he feels obligated to show him. Joel returns to his quarters and pulls out his secret items. He drinks and takes drugs as he plans the route he'll take. As he sleeps, Tess joins him in the bed, and when he wakes up, she's made him food. He is alarmed by her injuries. Because of the agreement they made to forget about it, she tells him it was teenagers that beat her, when it was actually Robert's men. Then she has to tell him that Robert sold the car battery to someone else. They decide they'll discreetly find out where Robert is making the trade and get the car battery no matter what it takes, so that they can go find Tommy. Marlene is in charge when she enters a room with 3 other people. Kim asks her why they keep blowing up meaningless Fedra targets all over the QZ, losing soldiers, and why she has a girl locked up in one of the rooms. All Marlene says is that she and everyone else doesn't need to know, they just need to follow orders. They are fighting against military dictatorship to restore democracy and freedom. She asks if they, the Fireflies, are winning anywhere against Fedra, and Kim responds by saying rebellion takes time. Marlene shows her where they've hit Fedra, and explains that she wants them as distracted as possible tonight because every Firefly is going to gather together and leave the QZ permanently. They're going to take the girl west. She presents a note from their radio tower guy in Salem. Joel and Tess bribe someone to tell them where Robert will be handing over the battery, and plan on ambushing them. Marlene returns the girl's belongings to her and says she owes her a thank you for convincing others to spare her life. It turns out that when she was just a baby, Marlene took her to Fedra so she'd be safe, even though they're fighting against them now. She tells her the name she gave her as a baby was Ellie. Marlene tells her she's coming with them tonight, and will serve a greater purpose than anyone could imagine. She tells her a secret that she cannot tell anyone else, or she will die. Joel and Tess venture through underground tunnels until they come to a blocked door, smell gunpowder, and see blood. Robert's second battery deal went horribly wrong. Not only that, he was trying to sell a dead battery. They find that Robert's other buyers were Marlene and the Fireflies. Marlene says that their use for it was more important than his, because Tommy is just one man. Joel claims that she turned Tommy against them, but they don't have time to talk because Fedra will be responding to the gunshots. Marlene tells Joel he needs to take Ellie with him. Everyone objects to the idea, but Marlene explains that a team of Fireflies will be waiting for Ellie at the old state house. Marlene offers them the truck, a good battery, guns, whatever they need to take her. Since she is shot and the Fireflies won't be able to leave discreetly anymore, they agree. Within the short time she is left alone, Ellie discovers and breaks Joel's radio codes for his drug smuggling. She wonders what 80s songs mean, but Joel refuses to tell her. He sleeps to pass the time after Ellie tells him his watch is broken. When he wakes up, she tricks him by saying that a song came on that said, "Wake me up before you go," and Joel drops his head in defeat. Ellie says she cracked his code, because she was only trying to figure out if an 80s song meant trouble. Tess returns and announces that it's time to go. They make it outside the walls and Ellie is impressed they've made it this far. They encounter the same guard Joel sold drugs to, but he isn't persuaded to let them go, not even for half off all his drugs. Ellie stabs him in an attempt to get away, but it backfires and Joel is about to be shot in the same way he was with his daughter 20 years ago. He decides it can't happen again, so he tackles him to the ground and punches his face until he's dead. The woman scans Ellie and determines that she may be infected. Ellie swears that if she really was, it would have killed her by now. They make their escape into forbidden territory.